All right, here we go. Looks like we're going to go live right now. Make sure the audio works. Looks like it. All right, cool. Okay, let's do this then. Where the hell is my link? Where's my link? Why does it look different on this channel? Let's try this. Wow, why is it not showing up there? Weird. Weird. Okay, well, I gotta figure out where the heck the link is here, quite honestly. Did this already go out to Twitter? Did Twitter put this out before I was ready? It's like, I'm live streaming right now, didn't it? No? I don't think so. Well, anyway, if you're in here right now, I've got to get the stream title here. It's funny, on the main page, it doesn't show that I'm live streaming. But let's see, add section. Live now. There we go. That'll do. Done. There it is. Okay, cool. Jeez. I set this up so long ago that you would think I had no idea what I'm doing now. All right. Live stream about life and... I spelled life wrong. Wow. Life and weight loss. This is mostly going to be a Q&A. The problem with just like getting in there and talking about weight loss or the weight loss surgery is the fact that there's so many things to talk about. Like it's impossible just to pick up a point and go. So my real goal with this here is just to answer questions about it. Since I am almost May 26th will make 7 years post-op. And so, yeah, anyway. Obviously, I'm not going to be talking about any tech stuff. This is not tech. Unless we consider the fact that mine was laparoscopic, which means it was done with robot arms. Well, not really robot arms, but like big stencils. Like skewers through your body, I guess you could say, something like that. And let's see here. But anyway, this is all come about right now because Jerry mentioned publicly that he was thinking about getting a weight loss surgery. And of course, a lot of people chimed in. But what really frustrates me as someone who's had the surgery myself is the amount of people who chime in who've never had it or not been close enough to someone who's had it. Having a friend that had it does not make you an expert on it. Trust me. The friend would probably open up about some things with the struggles of having a bariatric surgery, but that doesn't mean anything. Trust me. What goes on behind closed doors is an entirely different situation versus what you see in life. Is this on gaming? Yeah, it is technically on gaming because YouTube streams to both platforms simultaneously. It's automatic. What's my daily calorie intake and what kinds of food do I eat? Okay, first of all, caloric intake is something that you need to determine with your own health provider because everyone's caloric needs are different. I do a lot of physical activity. I go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I ride Tuesday, Thursday, and I try to get a ride in on Saturdays with my cycling. So I'm very active. So my caloric intake is considered about 3,400 calories is considered healthy for me if I eat the right kinds of calories. Today I only took in 1,866, and yes, I do monitor all of my intake right there. I use an app called MyPlate. I have to kind of incorporate tech to be successful because when being over 6.5 years post-op does not mean that I don't have the same struggles that I did before. Food addiction is a food addiction. A lot of people want to argue whether or not you can really be addicted to food. Oh, that's just an excuse, whatever. I'm not here to debate that. I'm here to tell you that even myself, being completely cognizant and conscious of what happens when you overeat and you don't eat the right foods and stuff, still have to monitor it, because I wasn't monitoring it, and I was completely plateauing and gaining back some of the weight I lost from last year. In fact, I told this to Jerry today, of the hashtag GoTeamJ, progress from last year. I gained back 18 pounds since the winter. I've since lost it again, but I lost it again because I started going back to my routine, and I think routine is a big deal. But my caloric intake, 3,400 is actually considered okay if I eat the right kinds of calories. I try to keep it around 2,000 net calories. Sometimes it's lower than that depending on my workout. But if I go on, say, like a 40-mile bike ride, I'll burn 1,000 calories, no problem. Let's see here. Why are we talking about weight loss? Did something happen? I just answered that. Jerry mentioned on Twitter that he was thinking about getting weight loss surgery, which sparked a conversation amongst my followers because they know I've had it. And I figured this was an easier place to communicate with you guys without being limited to 140 characters. Food is definitely an addiction. I'm an addict. Being somebody who's been and still somewhat food addicted, I mean, granted, we all need to eat, but the thing is, it doesn't matter if you smoke, it doesn't matter if you drink, if you're addicted to food, if you're addicted to gambling, if you're addicted to sex, pornography, drugs, they all hit that same part of your brain that feels like a euphoria or just gets completely, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know the right terminologies here, but all I know is it doesn't matter what the source of the addiction is, the fulfilling of the addiction is touching that same emotion in your brain that makes you feel pleasure out of it. And sometimes it can be painful too when you try and abstain from whatever that addiction is. Like me right now, my biggest addiction is coffee. I never drank coffee before surgery, ever. I hated coffee. I made fun of everyone who drank like Starbucks and stuff and would go and order their double venti frou-frou fraps and crap. Now I'm that guy. And fortunately, I'm okay with that because there's a lot worse things I could have clung on to after having weight loss surgery. Because here is a whoa, I know that was loud. I apologize. Here is a reality here. Are you ready for this? Everyone who's had weight loss surgery, everybody, and if they say they haven't, they're a liar. Everyone who's had weight loss surgery has had to take on a different addiction because you're an addictive personality. If you're addicted to food, the result is obesity, right? If you're addicted to drugs or addicted to pornography, sex, or gambling, you can hide that, but you can't hide being a food addict. And so you have an addictive personality and you grab onto something else. I've known several people because I used to attend support groups. Support groups is a big deal, both in preparing and post-surgery, of lots of folks who've had it, and you're all there just to talk, and like I'm doing with you guys right now, but the difference is I'm in a room full of people who've all done it, and lots and lots and lots of people have taken on to alcohol and drugs because I feel super lucky that I didn't go that way. But I've never been a drug user. I don't like smoking. And alcohol, even before surgery, I wasn't a binge drinker. I was that definition of a social drinker where I would have a couple drinks at parties and stuff and every now and then cut loose, kind of like the tech talk where I got shit-faced in Jerry's place. So that happens. And that's something that you need to know going into this, is that the psychological play here is more important than the physical ramifications of having surgery or the physical complications that can come of it. Your mental stability is going to be completely tested. In fact, a lot of companies, like insurance companies, a lot of them will not approve the surgery unless you go through psych evaluations. And I know a lot of folks who got denied on the psych evaluation because the psychiatrist didn't feel that you'd be able to handle the stresses that are going to be involved with going through the surgery. See, imagine if you're trying to quit smoking. What's one of the ways to increase your success of trying to quit smoking? Don't hang around people who are smoking in front of you. That's not going to help, having that smoke blown in your face. You're going to be like, oh, I want a cigarette so bad. So you stay away from that. If you're trying to stay away from drugs, cocaine, heroin, don't go where people are doing cocaine and heroin. It helps. Same thing with drinking. You don't go to a bar if you're trying to become if you're trying to be a recovering alcoholic. You can't quit food. You can't. And when you have to eat, the challenge there is what you eat, right? You have to eat to stay alive. But when you're a food addict or you're extremely obese, you're a lot more drawn to pizzas and hamburgers and chips and fries and things like that. Unlike myself, like tonight for dinner, now I can say this. Tonight for dinner, we had grilled white meat chicken breast with quinoa, pineapple, and steamed broccoli. And I didn't even finish my dinner. But there's a time, like these pictures you see on the screen right here, if you put that in front of me, I probably would have looked at you and then eaten you as a punishment for trying to put a plate like that in front of me. That's the honest. There's a funny story once. You ever notice how a lot of really obese people tend to hang out with other obese people? It's kind of like comfort and in like similar company. I had a friend. Actually, it's the friend who committed suicide last year. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you remember that. He and I actually had the surgery within a year of each other. But before that, we were both really big guys. I was almost 500 pounds, and he was pushing 400. We used to go to like Chili's a lot, and we'd order like 2 dinners for each of us. And the waitress, I remember once I ordered like the chicken fried steak combo, right, with like the Texas toast and the mashed potatoes and all that stuff. And I remember the waitress was like, do you want a soup or a salad with that? And I remember looking at her square in the face, and I said, do I look like the kind of guy who eats a fucking salad? And my buddy just started cracking up. But that was the thing. Like, you felt comfortable and you were happy. Like, I'm going to make a joke out of this, So the mental aspect of the surgery is the part that becomes most underestimated. And that's what I told Jerry on the Twitter was, dude, don't underestimate the surgery, man. The surgery and the physical aspect of it is the least of your worries, quite honestly. Sounds like it was a great dinner. Trust me, man. I love food. To this day, I love me some chicken fried steak or some Hot Pockets or some shit that's just terrible for you. But yeah, that's the hardest part. I haven't had a Hot Pocket now in over a year. That was like my go-to thing, right? Busy lifestyle. Like, I'm just gonna pop some Hot Pockets in the microwave and call it a day. But those things are so fucking unhealthy for you. But anyway, trying to get back to some Q&A here. Jay, did you stress eat or not eat with... Well, I stress ate, trust me. But the thing was, I didn't know I was stress eating. I would just find myself in the fridge, grabbing stuff. A family-sized bag of Doritos. Dude, I could put one of those away by myself in a single sitting at night. I would just sit there and watch a couple movies, and next thing I know, a family-sized bag of Doritos was gone. In my body only. That's like 6,000 calories. But the thing is, you didn't think about that. You were completely ignorant to it. Now, you knew you were doing your body damage. You avoided mirrors. You avoided reflections. I got really good at walking down the street and never seeing myself in a mirror or the glass window or anything. Getting dressed for work in the morning, brushing my teeth, brushing my hair. I was super good at not seeing that guy in those pictures. Body dysmorphia, when you're big, is a real thing where you're dysmorphic is in the sense that you're invisible because you have oppressed. Do I listen to audiobooks while cycling? Nope, I don't listen to anything while cycling except for the cars because I don't want to die. Anyway, you become really good at making yourself invisible. You know you're not doing yourself any good, and every time you saw yourself, you were completely guilty. But the thing was, you were guilty and you were upset, and the only way you knew how to really handle that and cope with that was eating more food. So you got really good at ignoring reflections. On the flip side now, the fact that I'm down 246 pounds from the pictures that you see here, I still see that guy in the mirror. So if anyone's lost a lot of weight, I know you understand what I'm saying. Your mind is the worst thing to listen to. You can't trust your eyes. You can't trust your brain. You can't trust the reflections because your brain is lying to you constantly. People don't understand how I can say when I look in the mirror, I see that guy right there in these pictures. But that's because my brain is lying to me. And it really, really messes with you. It's not until I see pictures someone else takes of me that I look at that and I go, wow, I've really come a long way. If I took the picture, it doesn't count because I still look at that picture and I can pick everything wrong with it. It's when you guys take a picture of me when we meet in public or we go to a convention or something or CES and you run into me like, hey, can we take a pic? You post it on Twitter, you tag me, I look at it and I go, wow, that's not the guy that I see. And that's what makes it so weird. And that's why I say the mental aspect of this surgery is completely underestimated. Is it like anorexia? No, no, no. Anorexia is an eating disorder. You're talking about body dysmorphia disorder. That's where what I'm just saying to you right now is your brain doesn't let you see the real you. And what happens is anorexia typically coincides with body dysmorphic because, and especially in females where they feel that they're fat, they feel no matter what they're fat, they see this big fat person in the mirror, like I'm saying. So they take it to an extreme of, meal purging and stuff like that to try and stay what they think is healthy, only they've completely made themselves unhealthy in the opposite spectrum. Self-image is your enemy. Yeah, man. 246 pounds down, and I still see this guy in the mirror, and that frustrates the living shit out of me. Do you think YouTube helped you lose weight mentally? I was 315 pounds at CES last year. And a lot of people made a lot of comments of like, Jay, you look like you're putting on a lot of weight. Jay, you're putting on weight. And I was putting weight back. It's not hard to put weight back on after surgery. It's really not. If you just stick to an unhealthy lifestyle, the same way you got big the first way, you'll get big the second way. The second time, you'll just slowly climb, just slow and steady, and you ignore it until one day you're like, holy hell, I am obese again. So I was 315 pounds at that CES. I was a size 54 jacket and a size 48 waist. I was almost a 58 or 50 waist again. My biggest, I was a size 62 that you see in those pictures right there. Those are size 62 pants. And I want you to notice on the top left one, I can't even get my hands in my pockets because the pants are too tight at the waist. So people, my own subscribers started making a lot of comments like, Jay, you're getting big. Jay, we're worried about you. Jay, you're putting on weight. And then of course there's the Jay, you're fat. Jay, whoa, fat fuck. Wow, you're fatter than I thought. Because I was real good at doing like chest up shots only where I looked a lot less unhealthy. And it wasn't until people saw big, full body shots where they were going, wow, no offense, but you're much fatter than I thought. And that was starting to get to me to where my fans and the amount of comments that they were making finally made me not aware of the situation. Obviously I was aware of it, or I wouldn't have been, cropping shots in a certain way to try and look better than I did. But they made me face the fact that I was going to be that guy in these pictures again. So I really do owe a lot of the willpower to the fans that made realistic pleas of, hey, you are gaining weight again, man. Do something for yourself. So yeah, the last year has been a lot to do with the comments that my own fans have made. See, Cuddy says, Jay, were you ever at a weight where if you needed surgery, they couldn't put you under? Probably. When I had my car accident in 2008, I was about 475 pounds. And what had happened was I was on my way to work. I got rear-ended by a truck, pushed into an SUV. So my car was completely sandwiched. That SUV was totaled, and it totaled a Honda in front of it. That's how hard my car was hit. It took 8 firefighters to get the gurney lifted and locked into position. And I was so big. Huntington Memorial in Pasadena was a hospital I was taken to. They couldn't do any CAT scans or MRIs on me. I didn't fit in any of the machines. None of the machines. So, yeah, there was a point where medical treatment, especially in a trauma situation, wasn't able to be addressed simply because of the fact of my size. And that accident was actually the straw that broke the camel's back. No pun intended. I had basically decided that that was enough. And I needed to do something. And that was the straw that made me go to my physician and say, I need to do something to save my life, because I was super hypertensive. When you're that big, you have to, a lot of people don't realize blood flows through fat cells just like any other cell in your body. So your heart has to pump blood through all of this tissue. And that's why fat people don't live to be elderly, because their heart just gives out long before they ever get there. And so I went to the doctor asking them how, what I had to do. And basically all the doctor said was, well, you've got to go through a 6-month preparation class, and you got to go take healthy eating classes and stuff. It's all offered through the insurance, and then the psych evaluation and all of that. But literally all he said was, make sure that you're ready for this. Make sure you're prepared for this. And I was, because this car accident happened 1 month after we found out my wife was pregnant with little J. And I looked at this and I went, my grandfather died at the age of 63. And my dad today is 73. So my dad is 10 years older than my grandfather was. I was 6 when my grandfather died. I never really got a chance to know him very well. And so I looked at this. I want to see my daughter grow, get married, go to college, or the other way around. Grow, go to college, get married, and have a long life. I wanted to be there for that. So that was ultimately my decision for getting the surgery. Wife was 1 month pregnant. The car accident proved that I was a burden to the healthcare system, quite honestly. Anyway, what kind of surgery did I have? I had a full bypass, which is known as a Roux-en-Y. It's actually the most invasive. They actually bypass about 20 inches of large intestine. That's where a lot of the sugars and stuff are broken down in your system. And my stomach was made about the size of an egg. But the reason why they make it so small is your stomach over time is going to stretch back out to about a normal size or about the size of a softball. So if you and I went to a restaurant and I didn't tell you that I had the surgery, you would just think I'm an average adult eating an average meal, not like an American meal, but like an average meal. You'd never know. So I've gotten to the point to where it's not like I'm picking up my food because if I eat 2 bites, I'm going to throw up kind of thing. Are most people fat? You mean fat? Are most people fat because they eat too much or because they are depressed? Is it both? That's a complicated question, Sean. See, if I ate nothing but white meat, chicken breast, and vegetables all day long, if I just ate and ate and ate and ate and ate and ate with that kind of diet, I wouldn't be obese. But if I ate hamburgers and pizza and chips and crackers and bread and all that stuff nonstop, then I'd be super big, because you have to understand the way food works with your body. Whether or not you eat because you're depressed and you're a coping, you use food as a coping mechanism, that's a mental disorder. That's something entirely different. But they are hand in hand. How much am I at now? Right now I'm at 240 pounds. Do you find it frustrating, difficult to watch overweight friends make the same mistakes you did but not listen to advice? What do you think is a good way to overcome that? First of all, I don't give unsolicited advice. I hated when anyone that was close to me would just step in and say, Jay, you need to do this, or Jay, you need to do that. I don't do it to Jerry. I don't do it to anyone else. But I'll gladly have the conversation with anyone who's willing to have the conversation about your health. The problem is, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this stream right now, is there's a knee-jerk reaction amongst the public to quite often say, what do you know about being healthy? You had to have surgery. And it puts me a little bit in a tailspin when it comes to being angry with that person, simply because having surgery was a lot harder than trying to lose weight. I don't want to say the natural way, because I still lost it the natural way. I just had a tool to use, because I took away the food aspect of it and took on a mental burden with the surgery, and I did it, obviously to save and extend my life. But I won't have the conversation with anyone who's not willing to have it. It is like talking to a brick wall when you try and tell someone who's obese and has an eating disorder and is not willing to address that order. There's nothing you can say that's going to get through to that person, period. There's nothing anyone can say to get through to me. There's times I do wish that my wife had come to me and said, you need to do something for your health. I love my wife to death. Miss J's 2 cents has been an amazing companion. I've been with her for 16 years now. But she loved me unconditionally, which was great, to the point to where she didn't see me this way either. And you got to ask yourself, like, how in the heck is that possible, right? You would think you're sleeping with this big fat blob. How would you not know that this person is this big? But just like you become blind to it yourself, you kind of have blind love as well. She never once initiated the conversation with me about my weight. And part of that might have been because of fear of offending. But I think that's the only thing that if I look back, I would have said, I wish she had come to me sooner, because when I met her, I was 301 pounds. And then when I had the surgery, I was 494. Actually, no. When I had the surgery, I was 450 because I was told I had to lose weight before the surgery. So I had to lose down to 450 before they would do it. So I had lost 44 pounds myself prior to the surgery. But the reason for that, one, was to show willpower, dedication, and two, to shrink your liver, because your liver is on top of your stomach, and when you lose weight, your liver shrinks. You have a fatty liver, it's more complicated for the surgery. I know I'm missing a lot of questions here, guys, but I'll do the best I can, okay? You're a sexy beast, and don't you ever forget that. Oh, I won't forget it, as long as you're here to tell me that every day. Every day you have to tweet me and tell me I'm a sexy beast. Let's see, Fraser John says, I totally understand your frustration. I'm currently around 220% body fat. 200 pounds and 20%. So you must be a little bit on the shorter side, I'm guessing. I'm trying to get shredded and down to 10% body fat, but there's always temptations that distract me from reaching my goal. My personal trainer feels that at my height, 14% is about right. Right now, I'm sitting at 240 pounds and about 20%, anywhere between 18 to 20%. I fluctuate quite a bit on the body fat, actually, which is weird. My trainer thinks that the scan machine that we use, fluid can really affect that scan's accuracy. And because I do a lot of riding and stuff, I tend to hold on to a lot of water when I ride, right after my ride, because I don't drink enough on my ride, so I kind of go light on water weight, and then my body kind of sponges up for a bit. But anyway, 20% it's in the what's considered the normal range, I believe. Maybe it's right on the edge of between normal and overweight, but that's the thing. Everyone's body is so different. You don't realize your partner's size if something gained over time. Yeah, it was gained over years. When I look at the old pics of my wife, it's hard to believe she was ever that size, but I loved her anyway, and I'm very proud of what she's accomplished. She's done great, but mindset is the key to being successful with weight loss surgery. Yes, and you're going to go through moments where you are completely off the wagon. The hard part is telling that person that, because they oftentimes don't want to hear it. Press 1 if you've ever tried to talk to someone that you care about that's overweight, only to have them completely blow up on you for even bringing up their weight. Press 1 if that's ever happened, and I'm going to go ahead and push 1 now because I've done that. There, I pushed 1. You guys will see why I pushed 1 in a minute. Fraser John says he's 5'10" and naturally stocky. Yep. See, I'm 6'4", and 20% on me being 6'4" doesn't look that much bigger. Yeah. So you guys ever try and talk to someone about their weight and they don't bring up the conversation? And man, it's like unleashing Pandora's box. They just eat you, literally. All right. So rather than me babbling on, go ahead and ask me another question. Somebody ask a good one. Somebody ask a good one. I drink a lot of water now too. Damn, Jay's tall. Yeah, I'm 6'4". You're correct, Jay, but I think it takes a strong ally to help you push through. It's easy to fall back old bad habits. Yeah, doing this by yourself is probably impossible. I know I needed a crutch, that's for sure. And I don't mean the surgery as a crutch. I mean like just that mental support. There was a while there, Miss J's 2 cents was ready to walk out on me. Literally, she was just like ready to be like, fuck you, I'm out of here. This marriage is over. I can't handle, because this is the after surgery part where, and this is what I tell people too, when they don't understand, like, well, what do you mean it's mentally hard? Just don't eat, right? You hear that all the time. Just don't eat that stuff. Just because you had the surgery doesn't mean the cravings are gone, but you physically can't eat the stuff you want to eat. First of all, if you have a Roux-en-Y like I did, it's like a 3-month healing process. In the first, I believe it was 2 weeks for me, and every doctor is a little different. But the first 2 weeks for me, guys, was a broth diet only. Beef and chicken broth, period. You try drinking, or technically souping, only broth for 2 weeks and still having the cravings that you want. That's like trying to quit smoking and having your mouth shut and sewn shut and having the cigarette in front of you and touching it and holding it, but you physically can't get it to your mouth. That's the closest thing I could imagine to being the withdrawals you go through after having surgery. And then after that, you can start taking like puree, like some sugar-free puddings and blended foods. And then you can start, the very last thing you can take is beef. And sometimes that's at the 3-month mark. Depends on the doctor again. My doctor wanted me to wait 6 months before I did beef. 6 months before I could do grapes because they were too high in sugar content. But beef was, I think it was 3 or 4 months. It was crazy. Cheese, man, cheese was like, was like a bear butt plug in the wintertime. You know how bears like shove stuff up their ass. I don't know if you guys ever knew that. Here's nature information for you. When a bear hibernates, it makes a butt plug. Cheese kind of does that to you. Anyway, that was highly inappropriate. Shake a turtleneck. He says, looking to get a bike as my first. Do you have any brands or recommend or anything in particular? I loved bike riding in the past, but it's been a few years. I live by trails now, so that urges back. I don't do mountain biking, so I couldn't help you with that. You didn't give a price range. Good bikes are expensive. I started with a Cannondale Quick 5, which is about $580 when it was outfitted with bottle cages and all that stuff. But I broke the wheels on that to the point to where that's why I ended up getting a better bike, because the wheels kept breaking up my weight. Now I ride a full carbon Trek bike, but I wouldn't have gone straight on that. No way. Nanda Panda Tech says, was there any time after the surgery that you thought, oh man, what have I done to myself? Yeah, for about the first 6 months, every day. See, I had a really unique complication. My complication was anything that went in my mouth. Make jokes, anything that went in Jay's mouth. Anything that went in my mouth, including water, made me nauseous. And here's another piece of trivia or fun fact for you. I've never thrown up since surgery. I've had the surgery almost 7 years now. I've not thrown up one time. But some folks are extremely sensitive where they throw up all the time because they just, for whatever reason, that's their body's reaction. I've never thrown up. But what happened was anything that I tried to eat or drink made me literally feel like that moment right before you throw up when you're drunk, everything's spinning and you're lightheaded and you have a headache and you're sweating and you're like, oh, I'm gonna throw up. That feeling every time I ate for 6 months. And that mental aspect of that was like, what on earth have I done to myself? I'm never gonna be able to eat again. I'm going to die now because I can't eat and I'm going to shrivel away to nothing. But then one day I woke up and it was gone, just gone. Even my surgeon was like, don't really know what happened. And my surgeon was actually one of the world-renowned surgeons for the implementation of the laparoscopic version of the Roux-en-Y. His name was Dr. Suh, and he trained surgeons all over the world on how to do it laparoscopically so you don't have to get cut open like a fish. Do I drink alcohol? Very rarely. And I don't really drink beer because it's too foamy. Was the surgery right before you start the channel, and do you think the weight loss gave you a good start on YouTube? No, my surgery was in 2009. I started the channel in almost 2013. Jay, it sounds like an antibus reaction that alcoholics get from a specific antibiotic used to treat alcoholism. Maybe. I never used morphine after surgery either because morphine made me feel the same way. If morphine hit my body when in my IV, if I clicked the button, it was like, oh God, okay, the room is spinning. Okay, I'm gonna throw up. But I was also really lucky where I didn't have a lot of surgery, a lot of pain. My abdominal pain, no pain whatsoever. I woke up in the recovery room, and the first thing I noticed was, oh God, I have a fucking the catheter. I have a catheter. I was like, oh God, there is a tube coming out of my penis. That was my first thought. The second thing was, I feel like I have to pee, but I guess that's a normal reaction for having a catheter. I felt perfectly fine until I tried to do a sit-up. I tried to sit up. Yeah, then I realized that they took the laparoscopic probes and literally weaved them through all my muscle fiber because I had serious abdominal sharp pain from that. Never had any pain internally except for the air bubble. They to make sure that you're all sealed up, if that makes sense, because remember, they take my stomach and they cut it to where it's a small pouch, and then they take the intestine and they cut it and they redirect it to another part where basically the Roux-en-Y is where you bypass the jejunum and it becomes reattached in a different part of the intestine. So you bypass a lot of the absorption of sugars, but at the same time you also don't absorb a lot of the vitamins that you need, which is why post-op you need to take vitamin supplements. But at the same time, they have to inject an air bubble into you to make sure that you're not like leaking. Literally, if you have a rupture inside your stomach, your intestine, and food leaks into your abdominal cavity, you will die. And that's a big deal. So they inject this bubble in you. The problem is when they do surgery on your digestive tract, it stops moving. Food doesn't go through you anymore. That's why it's believe it was 24 hours before I could even have my first sip of water. The cotton mouth was insane, I tell you. But your digestive tract stops, so that bubble doesn't go anywhere. You sit up, it goes up. You lay down, it's kind of floating around right there. That bubble is pain because remember, you just got all sewn up inside. And that bubble, as it moves around in you, is like pushing on those sutures and stuff. My doctor does a staple and sutures so that there's no chance of anything coming apart. That bubble was the worst thing I felt ever. And it can take a day, it can take 3 days. It took me almost a week to pass that bubble. And it was the worst feeling ever, because here's the other thing that happens after you have a full Roux-en-Y bypass, is you get the hiccups. And every hiccup was like taking Kimbo Slice's straight punch to the chest. And I remember I was walking with my, literally I still had the catheter hanging out of me. So had the catheter like strapped to me, and I'm walking with a little IV thing, and I'm kind of walking around, right? They make you walk a lot so you don't get blood clots. I hiccuped and almost fell flat on my face because that hiccup and that air bubble, that's the worst thing post-op. I almost had to go back to the doctor because it was 5 days before I had a bowel movement, because they said it should take about 72 hours before your digestive tract starts to work again and starts moving things through. Because remember, when you get cut up in there, it shocks the system and it shuts down. They were concerned that something was wrong with me because it was 5 days, and they asked, did you have a bowel movement yet? And it's like, nope. And they're like, you might need to come in. Then 2 hours later, I had the poop, but it wasn't really poop. It was just like crusty blood, if that makes sense. That is so, you guys, I'm keeping this real, okay? But yeah, there was no food in me because you have to fast before the surgery. It just literally was like, it was like tar. It's terrible. It's like if you ever had a kid, it's like that first baby poop. It's just blackness. Yeah. God. If you guys are thinking about getting the surgery, I'm sure you're not now. Your body absorbed it. It doesn't come out like that. I actually beg to differ on that one. And my surgeon confirmed that with me, to where some people, the bubble literally does pass through your system, and mine did. The fart that came out and the amount of pressure that was relieved, oh my goodness. But yeah, I asked my surgeon if I farted out that bubble, and he went into, he was Korean, so he was very, very matter of fact about everything. And he told me all the different situations that could have been encountered with the bubble, how some people, it moves up and then can get absorbed. But I literally farted my bubble out, quite honestly. Have you has or CT or MRI to see the current size of your stomach? Funny story. Every time I go to the airport, I have to get a pat down. Because I have the sutures and the staples in my stomach, and in the US, and I think in Europe they banned these, but in the US they still have that like 360 scan thing. Every time I go to the airport, I go through that thing, and then next thing I know, I've got 2 or 3 TSA agents that pull me aside and do a pat down because the machine detected something in my abdomen. I always glow yellow like a Christmas tree in my stomach. So yeah, I know how big it is because that thing shows like the size. Anyway, super fart. Yeah, it was like, and then the pain was gone. I was like, oh, thank God. Have I done Soylent? Nope, I don't do any of those gimmicky things. That stuff's all gimmicky to me. And when I see that stuff, it's like, oh, come on. There's nothing in a bottle that's going to make you healthy. There's nothing in this. There's nothing anyone needs other than proper diet and nutrition. Everything you need is in there. Unless you have some sort of an absorption deficiency, which technically you have after you get a gastric bypass. You are more or less intentionally malnutritioning yourself to lose the weight rapidly in the beginning, which means you have to take supplements like vitamin B12, and you have to take iron, and you have to take biotin and all these other things. Otherwise, you start losing your hair and your nails get brittle because you're not getting the absorption of vitamins that you need. These things in a bottle, that's my personal opinion. I'm not saying that it's wrong and you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying, to me, I don't rely on things in a bottle to make me healthy. I rely on my lifestyle. Jay, do you still do your protein shakes? Yeah, but that's for the gym though, because I still do lifting at the gym 3 times a week. So I do that more or less for recovery, not because of a protein deficiency anymore. But you're right though. For the first year, You have to be big time on taking your minimum of, let's see, my doctor wanted me to take a minimum of 60 grams of protein drink every day. Because of the reason why you do that though is when you're in that rapid weight loss state in the first few months. See, I lost. Sorry, I just blew in the mic. I lost 25 pounds in the first 2 weeks, and then I lost 45 pounds the first month and 100 pounds in the first 3 months. That's extremely rapid. But a lot of that's also muscle. Remember, you're on this liquid diet. You're not getting the proteins and stuff that you need. You can't take the protein shakes right away either. That's part of the healing process. So a lot of the weight you're losing, people think, oh my God, you lost 100 pounds. You must have looked great. Well, I felt like shit too because my body was eating muscle to stay alive. And so when you can start taking the protein shakes and you're approved for that, then that's to make sure that you don't lose too much muscle, which is another complication altogether. How about my diet now? Okay, well, let's take a look at what I've eaten today. Come on. For breakfast today, I actually had a high fiber cereal. It was like a Special K with 1% organic non-fat milk, which, by the way, was something that took me several years to be able to drink again. Not drink, but use in cereal because you become highly lactose intolerant. For lunch, I had a grilled skinless chicken breast on whole wheat, 100% whole wheat tortilla, diced tomatoes, avocado, and bacon. I do like me some bacon. And for dinner, crusted and breasted chicken breast. And this was yesterday's. Oh my God. Okay, this was yesterday's. Asparagus spears and grilled mushrooms. And then for a snack, I had 1 serving of animal crackers because I was eating them with my little girl, and my caramel macchiato that I make at home. And today for breakfast, I had cereal again. Normally I'll do like 1 egg mixed with egg whites and like a whole wheat bagel, lean turkey sausage, stuff like that. Lunch today I had turkey and cheddar on wheat sandwich. Dinner I had my grilled skinless chicken breast, a half cup of quinoa, pineapple slices, and broccoli. And then snack today was, again, my coffee. I have my coffee every day. And I actually had Pop-Tarts today. So that's not something I would have eaten, though, like the snack. I wouldn't have eaten that if I was in that massive weight loss phase. But because I am at a point now to where, my schedule and my diet and all that stuff is pretty much automated now. It's just natural. You can still have things that you enjoy. The thing is, if you can't control yourself to eat 1 Pop-Tart instead of a box of Pop-Tarts, then you shouldn't eat the 1 Pop-Tart, period, if it's going to trigger you to start binging. You keep record of everything I eat. I have to, Mark, because when I don't, it gets away from me. It's that old mentality of liking food, liking the way food tastes. It gets away from you, and you don't realize how much you eat. So yes, I still log all of my food. In fact, I forgot to put in today's weight. I'll log my weight too. And my water. Water's a big one. There we go. So I still have 1,363 remaining calories today. If you guys are curious about what my actual percentages were, so my total intake today, including the Pop-Tart and the snack and stuff, was 1,866 calories. I don't know if you guys can actually see any of that. Let's see. Where is it? Can you see it? So you can see there's that red bar. The light orange part is the amount of calories I have remaining for the day. But yeah, I have 1,363 calories remaining. But right now I'm in a deficit because I still have about 15 pounds of body fat that I want to lose before my birthday in June. So I only had 50 grams of fat today. Cholesterol was only 179.5 milligrams. That's 22% of my allowed. My sodium was 2,136. That's 34%. My carbs was 262.2 grams. A little bit higher than I'd like it to be, but that's only 50% of what would be considered allocated for my activity level. Dietary fiber was 15.3 grams. I need more fiber. My only source of fiber today was my cereal. Technically, broccoli, I believe, is a fiber as well. And then my sugars was 135 grams of sugar today. That's that Pop-Tart. Otherwise, that would have been at like 40. But 190 grams of protein. So my goal with one of the reasons why I do my meal tracking like that is I'm trying to get my proteins higher than my carbs right now. And that's hard because carbs, remember carbs is just sugar and everything has carbs in it. Even vegetables have carbs. Everything you eat has some sort of carb because it has to do with what metabolizes into sugars. That's where your activity level comes in because you have to make sure that the sugars that you do eat are metabolized into energy of some sort, whether it be like me, I do the biking and I do the weightlifting, but at the same time, being alive also burns sugars. You just have to be mindful of how much you're taking in versus your activity. If you're extremely sedentary, then you want to bring in as few carbs as you possibly can. That's why Jerry will post those pictures on Instagram, which are kind of silly, like carb loading for my nap. He's kind of trolling the people that are giving him a hard time about his diet. But carb loading is something I legitimately do the day before I need the carbs. You don't carb load the day you need them. The day before I would do like a long ride, then I would eat like a bowl of pasta, like spaghetti or something. And then my next day, if I was going to do like 70 miles on the bike, I would be noticeably more energetic that ride than the days I didn't carb load the day before. It's fun to kind of play around with what works and what doesn't, though. What app is that? It's called MyPlate. I love that app. It's free. It's not only Americans. UK is just as bad, but the kids more so. Oh, you're responding to someone. I'm not sure what you're responding to. Jay, is wheat bread such as bagels better than non-wheat? No. And let me tell you why. And now I had to go through a lot of dietary classes to learn about food. Ad vape, yeah, I would ride between 70 and 75 miles at a time. My average rides were 40 miles to 45 miles every ride. Right now I'm only doing about 25 miles per ride because I'm getting back up to that point. But anyway, the breads and stuff, you gotta understand, wheat by itself is bland. So what do? They enrich it and they put other stuff into it to make it softer and to make it much more tasty. So if you're going to look at breads, pretty much all white bread is enriched white flour. White bread is like the most unhealthy bread you can eat, and short of putting cheese and other things on it, right? But white bread itself is just like, to any sort of dietitian, white bread is like the devil. Wheat bread can be enriched as well. People do make enriched wheat flour. And if your bread is enriched, doesn't matter if it's white or wheat, it's enriched. And that's the part that's bad for you. So I always make sure what I get is 100% whole wheat because it's then not enriched. I don't have a gluten allergy, so I'm okay with the wheat. The thing is, around the 90s, everyone, especially in the US, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the US, everyone started pushing real hard on this. Wheat is better, wheat is better, wheat is better. And then we found out, oh man, a lot of the population seems to be allergic to wheat. Maybe that wasn't a great idea. So now everything is like, no gluten, no gluten, no gluten, which is funny because as a society, everyone's got to have the scapegoat, right? Why are Americans fat? It's because of all the gluten. Yep, it's all the gluten. It's not the other shit I eat, it's just the gluten. But anyway, I don't buy into that shit. I don't have a gluten allergy, so I just make sure I keep the amount of wheats that I eat in check because they are carbs. I love whole wheat, not a fan of white. I agree. I haven't eaten white bread in a long, long time now. And if I order something, like if I go to I really like Jersey Mike's. It's a sub place, but it's not like Subway. These are like really good, really fresh ingredients, and I can get 100% whole wheat bread there that they make their sandwiches on. And I'll get load that up with turkey. I'll tell them, man, give me double meat on the turkey. Lettuce, tomato, just go nuts on that. And every now and then they won't hear me say wheat and they'll do white bread. I'll give it back. I'm like, can't eat this. Need the wheat. No white. What about rye bread? Is it healthier than others? I've never liked the taste of rye, so I've never bothered to look into it. I'm not sure. Bike riding advice. What was your regiment? Do yourself a favor and go and watch the GCN channel on YouTube. It's a global cycling network. Hilarious guys from England. They'll teach you everything you need to know from getting started to getting advanced. It's easy to outride your ability. where you ride too far away, and then by the time you get home, you overdid it. I did the first time I rode. So you just need to really kind of work on pace and building up your distance over time. Don't be like, I'm going to go do 20 miles for my first ride. 20 miles now is like a warm up for me. But there was a time where 20 miles was like, oh my God, this is impossible. So take it over time. Subway is mostly quite unhealthy. Yeah, that's why I said when I mentioned subs, I'm like, yeah, not like Subway. What's the story from before about telling someone they are fat? I'm not sure what that means. Chia seeds for the protein and fiber. Yeah, there's this place that was over by my old office, and I'd miss having a day job because the place I worked right next door was a place called the Root Cellar, and it was just a lot of different like roots, right? I mean, beets and things like that. They made very, very healthy meals. They used to make a chia seed, like almost like a chia seed pudding that was really good. I ate too many tortillas because I need something to wrap the real food in so it's portable. Well, it's one of those things. I'm never going to tell someone that they need to do something cold turkey. I'm never going to say, you need to stop eating tortillas. I'm going to say, if you're wrapping them in flour tortillas, try wrapping them maybe in a corn tortilla that's not like fried, or a whole wheat tortilla. At least cut back in some way. And that's a lesser evil of the two. What inspired me to start the process of losing all the weight? Those pictures ought to be the answer to your question, quite honestly. Black Rabbit watches GCN. Yeah, I love those guys. Those guys are hilarious. Ever tried kelp chips? Damn it. What were the name of those chips I ate yesterday at my friend's place? What were they called? I'm going to text him. I know he's awake. Let's see. Hey, man. What was the name of those chips you had yesterday? Yeah, he'll remind me what they were. Hey Jay, how has your skin changed? How did you manage the excess as someone who has recently lost a bit of weight? The stretch marks and loose skin are real. You know, I'm pretty lucky where I've got a little bit of excess skin in my lower stomach. It doesn't bother me too much. I mean, it does a little bit. It bugs me that it's there. Like no matter how like hard my abs are, and I do have some serious abs. Cycling really does build up your abdominal core strength. It's always going to be flabby, right? The other thing is like the underarms right here. People have pointed out like, Jay, your arms are flabby. Well, dude, these arms used to be like out to here, man. But I mean, at the same time though, I do a lot of weightlifting and stuff. So I've got a lot of muscle in there too, right? But this is something I can get fixed. I can go to a surgeon literally and get this fixed. And I'm waiting to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm waiting to do that until I get to my target weight because I don't want to lose too much more weight where this might end up being flabbier. The other thing was, since my trainer and we were doing a lot of strength training. If you follow on Twitter, Instagram, you've seen like what my arms look like when I'm in the middle of a workout. We were building muscle, and we didn't want to trim my arms and then stretch it again with more muscle. So, it's one of those things. But it kind of sucks being a guy who's at the gym and can lift more than a lot of people there, but have flabby arms, which is kind of weird. But it is what it is, right? Lap band, GI, pacemakers, any thoughts, the reversible surgeries? Okay, I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. You probably came in late. The Roux-en-Y is the only surgery I personally think is the successful one, and here's the reason. It's the bypass that makes it successful, not the limiting of the food. The bypass has negative reinforcement. If you've had gastric bypass and you're in this chat, you know what I'm about to say. Sugar, milk and dairy, eating too fast, and anything sparkling or bubbly, like carbonated, you're not supposed to have, period. But these are things, especially the sugar and the milk, these are things that will send you into having a bad day. The negative reinforcement, what they call dumping, it's funny, they call it dumping. Like you would think like, oh God, I'm uncontrollably shitting myself. No, it's called dumping syndrome, but that's because your body starts to freak out at the fact that it can't absorb these things. Remember, when you get the bypass, you're bypassing a whole part of your. I've got 20 inches. I've got 20 inches of intestine in my body doing nothing right now because it's bypassed, and that's the section that absorbs things like the lactose in the milk, the dairy, the sugars, and unfortunately a lot of the proteins as well, and vitamins. So when those foods make it past the part that typically would never make it past there, it freaks out your system. See, let's say you eat a candy bar. All that sugar is typically absorbed early on in the digestive system. So when it starts to move farther down out of the duodenum and into the jejunum, then what happens is the body goes, "Oh my God, this isn't supposed to be here. What are you doing here?" And then it starts like moving really fast, and it just wants to get rid of it. And it makes you feel sick, and you feel nauseous, and you start to sweat, and you get the shakes, and you become lightheaded, and you become dizzy. It's a bad situation. And so the sleeve and the lap band, they don't do that for you because there's no bypass there. All those is intake management, where you can only eat so much. But it doesn't give you the negative reinforcement of, "Oh man, I just ate a greasy cheeseburger. Now I feel like I'm going to go throw up for an hour." You don't get that. You just go, "Oh, I ate a little bit less of a cheeseburger." So there's no incentive, really, I should say negative incentive, to seriously change the way you eat. That's why I'm against the sleeve, and that's why I'm against the lap band. Personally, I always will be. If someone's going to go in and start manipulating your body, do the one that works. The problem is the Roux-en-Y also is the most invasive and also has the most complications involved, which means a lot of insurances today are not covering it, and a lot of doctors won't do it because they're afraid of malpractice. Roux-en-Y can kill you, literally. I had about a 20% chance of dying having the surgery, and then there was a 24-month period afterwards where you still could die from the surgery, from complications, potential leak, and infections. It's just the way it was. But you know what? I looked at it this way. A 20% chance of dying after surgery was better than the 100% chance I had of dying before the age of 40 by looking like what you saw in that picture, in those pictures. I think that was a pretty good risk, quite honestly. Messed up and drank some diluted grape juice before going to the store once. I bet you had to ask where the bathroom was really quick, or there was going to be a cleanup in aisle 2. Oh, you remember earlier I said I brought up weight to someone, or bring up someone's weight to them, and it didn't go well? No, I didn't say that I did. What I said is I don't give unsolicited advice, meaning if someone's really big around me, I don't just go, "Hey, have you ever thought about blah, blah, blah," and start getting into their business. What I asked chat was, push 1 if you had ever tried to talk to someone about their weight without them bringing it up and having them blow up at you, because that's the typical response. Do I have my own meal plan I follow? No, I don't follow a meal plan. I don't follow diets. I don't follow fads. I don't follow any of these quote unquote like follow this meal plan, these pre-prep meals, and you'll lose weight, because that's not realistic. You can't have someone cook for you every day of your life. You can't have someone telling you what to eat on what day every day of your life. That's not realistic. That is an unsustainable way of trying to eat, which is going to make you fail ultimately in the end, because eventually you're going to stop following that plan. Instead, what my trainer and I have come up with is a list of alternative foods for the unhealthy ones. That's it. I choose, instead of column A, I choose my foods from column B. That's it. It's not meal replacement. It is food type replacement. You like dark meat chicken? Try turkey. You like rice, fried rice? Try quinoa. Now here's the thing. You've got to learn to like some of the things that just don't taste as good as their unhealthy counterparts. But there's a lot of creative ways to prepare the food that I never thought in a million years I would say this. And even today, my wife would tell you, man, the only thing I ate the entire bit of on my plate was my quinoa. I love quinoa. I love baked Brussels sprouts. My God, I never thought I would say that. When my wife cooks, if she makes Brussels sprouts, I'm like, yes, fuck yes, because I love her Brussels sprouts. It's the weirdest thing to ever say. They are amazing. Jay, all you ever needed was green tea extract supplements. Am I right? I'm not John Cooper, I'm actually not sure what you're referring to there. Thumbs up on sustainable, good quality food. Yeah, because a plan, you can get off of the plan, but if you always know what the alternative is, then you're good. What snack would you suggest for What snack would you suggest for a bored eater and someone who mindlessly eats a lot? If you can get used to unbuttered popcorn, it's actually not that bad. Problem is, I'm one of them butter lovers. I've never put like the liquid butter on popcorn like at the movies. I just like the butter that they like pop it in. Um, that's a hard one because I know what you're talking about. I'm the same way. Like I'm watching a movie, I have to be eating something, but I've gotten past that now. I'm not like that anymore. Um, hmm. The problem is most snack foods are very high in carbohydrate, which is sugars. Hey Jay, as someone working on losing a large amount of weight with physical restrictions, do you have any recommendations or thoughts? I'm working on 200 pounds of loss. Um, like I said earlier, my suggestion of food alternatives is what matters most. And I don't know of any resource online actually. Or I'm sure you could find this stuff online. My personal trainer and I actually came up with this ourselves, though. Um, like when I eat spaghetti now, I trust me. Italian is my favorite food. Lasagna, spaghetti, chicken parmesan. Oh my god, that is just like food orgasm, right? But there's alternative ways that you can make that aren't as bad. Like for instance, when we make spaghetti now, it's 100% whole wheat pasta, lean ground turkey meat, and then like marinara sauce and stuff. I can eat that and feel a lot less guilty because it's like half the calories and less than half the carbs of what standard like wheat, flour pasta and stuff would be. You don't have to be out there riding a bike 50 miles a day to lose the weight. The bike is not the way I lost the weight. The bike was the way I got in shape. The way I lost the weight was what I just said to you, the meal replacement or the meal alternatives. What do I usually drink instead of water? Juices? Coffee. Quite the diuretic too. I'm a coffee addict now. We have some green machine in the fridge. It's actually about to go bad. My wife, for whatever reason, bought the half-gallon green machine, and I can't drink as much as I love the way the green machine tastes. I can't drink that much of it because it's very high in sugar. Try edamame noodles, high in protein. Yeah, the wife has been trying to get some other noodles. Like right now, she bought a quinoa noodle because she knows how much I love quinoa. So she's been shopping at places like Sprouts and Trader Joe's and stuff to try and get more healthy organic foods. Jay, what do you say when you were starting the bike? What did you say when you were starting to bike? Like right bike, how far, etc. You gotta listen to your body, man. My first bike ride was 11 miles, and I was in Cramp City that night. I was like yelling for an ambulance. My legs cramped up so bad. So you've got to pay attention to what you can do. Popcorn cooked in turmeric is pretty good. I think most of the theater flavor and color is from turmeric. Oh, really? Edamame? I'm not sure. Have you ever had issues with being out in public and you realized you ate the wrong thing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. But I've never like uncontrollably shat myself though. That's the thing. Some folks have. Everyone responds differently. I have a friend that has literally shit himself from dumping syndrome. So yeah, needed salt, Jay? Probably. If you're talking about when I said I was in Cramp City, yeah, I had a black shirt and it was white. I sweated out all my salts, but that's because my body was so not conditioned. When I would ride 75 miles now, my black parts of my jersey had no white in them, but I'm extremely conditioned and hydrated now. Where did I find my trainer? He's at my gym. Just asked for personal training. I've been with him for 3.5 years now. 5:30 p.m. here, and you're giving ideas for dinner. Hey, man, you know who is a good person to ask for dinner? There's two people you should ask, quite honestly, that know a lot about food. One, my wife, at Miss J's 2 cents on Twitter. She is the one that does all the cooking in this house, not me. I wish I could be a good cook, but I rely on her heavily on taking the plan that my trainer and I've come up with on these food replacements and coming up with creative stuff. I am apropos actually on Twitter is quite the chef himself. He's another person you could possibly ask. 350Z Nismo? No, it's a 370Z Nismo, first of all. Does your gastric bypass tie in with IBS? That depends on what you eat. Like I just said, it's what's referred to as dumping syndrome. And different things make different people sick. Everyone's different. But usually milk, lactose, dairy, and sugars are what would trigger that. Do Titan X's have a good nutritional value? They're pretty tasty. Yeah, they burn a lot of watts. What is the best alternative when you are not about to cook your own food? I'm lucky enough to live near a Sprouts, and Sprouts is like a healthy food store, like an organic food store that also has a deli in there, and you can get some pretty good healthy foods made by someone else. I have no idea where you live, so I wouldn't know. Do you think you could have lost all the weight without your trainer? Yeah, I lost all my weight prior to my trainer, most of my weight prior to my trainer, and I was with my trainer for almost 3 years when I started doing the bike riding, and then lost the last of it. My trainer was actually getting ready to drop me because I wasn't taking fitness serious. I was just going through the motions, and nothing happens when you go through the motions. And so last year when I finally was like, screw this, I'm going to lose the weight, and I bought the bike and I started exercising and started eating healthy, he saw the drive and the momentum that I had. And then he was like, all right, you're serious. Let's do this. Having a trainer doesn't lose weight for you. Going to the gym and being in the gym doesn't lose weight. Sitting on the machine doesn't lose weight. It is a sun up to sundown lifestyle change that loses the weight. No one can do that for you. No trainer, no dietitian. Ultimately, it's you at the end of the day. I'm only with my trainer 1 hour every other day. I see him 3 hours a week. That's not enough for him to have any influence over what I do. He gives me the guidance, and it's up to me to live it. That is what a trainer is for. Jay, are the kids a big part of the drive to change? Yeah, I said that earlier. Actually, I want to see my kids grow up. What's the problem that happened to you when you still fat? You're still fat? That's kind of the worst problem I could think of. My ex-wife had the surgery. Best thing ever. She can play with our 2 boys now. Life-changing. It's true. I don't know why she's your ex-wife, and I'm not going to ask, but I will say this. There's another aspect of having the surgery and losing the weight that a lot of people don't expect either. Imagine you were always bullied because of your weight. Imagine the playground jokes like, oh, don't piss off Jay or he's going to sit on you, right? The sit on you was always like the go-to joke for the little punks in school. Being invisible, no one wanted to date you. I used to always say I was the most invisible big object there ever was. You don't exist to society when you're that big. Society would just assume you don't exist rather than acknowledge that you are this big, massive Snorlax walking around. That's the way that I felt. I was huge and invisible. Nobody would want to date you. You just were, like I said, invisible. Suddenly you start losing this weight and people start noticing you and you start to look more attractive. Some people can't handle the attention and they turn into complete whores. I'm not even kidding. I know some people whose marriages have fallen completely apart, again, in these support groups, because they couldn't handle the positive attention that they were now getting that they never had in their life. They went from being completely invisible, undateable, just, like I said, Snorlaxes to, wow, people think that I'm attractive now. I like this. I like this feeling. And so you start being a little bit of a flirt and blah, blah, blah. I've known people whose marriages have been destroyed from the weight loss. So you've got to be realistic about all of the changes that are going to happen. Apple Chipotle. And if you get an E. coli, you lose weight even faster. Yeah, okay. Oh, man. Avocados are nice. Omega-3 fat is... Yeah, avocados are a good source of healthy fat, but I hate avocado. I really do. The little bit of avocado I ate yesterday, I ate out of politeness, but I hate avocado. How do you plan to keep the weight off long term? Accountability. That's why I food log, and that's why I'm open with you guys, because it keeps me accountable. I can't be that guy that's talking about healthy food and riding bikes and stuff, and 6 months later you're like, and you're now 100 pounds heavier. So what about that bike riding and stuff? I have to succeed just for the sake of, I don't want to be called out. But no, look, I live in a house with a lot of stairs now. I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without drenching my shirt. I like being able to ride a bike 70 miles if I want. I like being able to run and chase my daughter. And I like being able to just do whatever the hell I want without gravity being a limiting factor. That's an easy way to stay motivated. What are my thoughts on the expensiveness of eating healthy? You know what's funny about that? I've talked about this. A lot of times, healthy foods don't cost any more to manufacture. In fact, a lot of times they can cost less because you're not having to spend a lot of extra things like pesticides and stuff. I think it's literally like gout. It's just market gouging. That's it. It's market gouging, and it drives me insane. But you can get around that. Eating healthy doesn't mean you have to go out. And by the way, anything that's like branded healthy oftentimes isn't, quite honestly. If you came right now and raided my kitchen, you would find very few things, if any, that say healthy on there. It's just foods that are better for you than those that aren't. That's it. Elliot Robertson saying he asked 2 questions earlier, but the only thing I noticed was a passing comment about avocado. Yeah, because avocado caught my attention, I guess. I don't know. I wish I liked avocados. I know that they can be a good source of, like someone said, omegas. Jay, your success is really inspiring. I've always been on the fat side, but have never had the motivation. But my kids are at the age where they can easily outrun me. Time to get off my lazy ass and lose it. It's never too late to decide you want to be healthy. But you kind of hit on something right there that's really important. If you're not ready, there's nothing that's going to work. You have to be ready. Nobody can say anything to you. No one can convince you that you need to do something. Only you. And that's what happened to me earlier this year, or last year. And I know that sounds so cliche. Only you can make you motivated. Blah, 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 blah. Only you can prevent forest fires. That's the truth. There's nothing. It doesn't matter if it's about weight loss. Someone's telling you, you've got to go to school. You've got to go get an education. Yeah, whatever, I guess, whatever. You go to school, you go through the motions, and you get like a C grade, whatever, But if you wanted to, then you'd be getting those straight A's and stuff. Nobody can make you, convince you, or even incentivize you to do anything about it. You have to want to do it yourself. And finally, after 35 years of being overweight, I finally got it. 35 years. But to be honest, at 35, there's very few 18-year-olds that can actually match a lot of my physical ability, and I'm okay with that. I'm quite all right with that. I know there's a lot of 18-year-olds right now in the chat going, yeah, right, Jay, whatever, bruh. I accept any physical challenge that's ever thrown my way, quite honestly. Today I peeled a pound of carrots, chopped a whole celery, and chopped an onion to make a big mess of an unbalanced mirepoix? What is that? Healthy food isn't expensive. It's time consuming. That's true. A lot of healthy food comes down to meal prep. Most I can't talk anymore. Most healthy foods are not pre-prepared. And you want to know something? You want to know how to eat healthy? You stay out of the frozen food section. That's how you stay healthy. Frozen foods are typically processed foods, and those are the worst for you. Fun fact, Smokey the Bear is a female. Really? Only you can prevent forest fires. Would you want to date a girl that sounded like this? You ever thrown a hot dog down a hallway? You ever thrown a toothpick into a volcano? Name that movie. All right, I'm 18, but I agree about that. Jay, race me in a 3,200 meter, 2 miles, 8 track laps. My record was 12:19. That's fast, actually. That's really fast. Jay, I'm 21, and you could definitely kick my ass. Jay, what are some good ways to feel and be healthier with working all the time and using all the other time in this day for sleep? Well, look, personal motivation is all I can say. Last year, when I made this, when I started hashtag GoTeamJ, and I know there's quite a few people in here that followed that hashtag and were extremely supportive of this. I was running a full-time business doing YouTube. I was working full-time as an IT engineer for a software development company, working 10 hours a day, while having 2 kids and a wife, and still found the time to get out there and work out and exercise and meal prep and do proper grocery shopping and ride my bike. You can do it. You just have to want to do it enough. You have to want to do it enough to where you're willing to sacrifice some sleep to get it done at the end of the day. You sounded like that female guard from Super Joe. Do you sometimes do cheat day? Absolutely, I do now. I didn't when I was in the middle of losing weight last year with my Go Team J movement. Here's what I learned about cheat days from a psychiatrist that I was reading about online. This was on an online thing. I actually, and by the way, I don't do cheat day. I do cheat meal. Cheat day you could easily fuck up your whole week in one day if you just went apeshit crazy with food for the whole day. So a cheat meal is the first thing, not a day. The other thing is, if you don't have the willpower because here's the thing, let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, let's say Saturday. No, okay, we'll do Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You stick to your meal plan, whatever you've got going with your diet. You're completely healthy. At the end of the day, or the end of the week, you're like, man, this is awesome. I only ate 10,000 calories. I'm going to give myself a cheat day or a cheat meal on Sunday. Some people, and this is very true for many of us, some people cannot take that one meal and stop there. That one meal can wreck their momentum to where they just go, oh man, that pizza was so good. And then they're like, maybe I'll just do one more cheat meal or one more piece of pizza. And then Monday, you're like, well, I've got that leftover pizza. I don't want to waste it. That'd be wasteful. So I'm just going to eat that. And then they fall off the wagon fast. And the psychiatrist was basically saying, you have to ask yourself, if you're the kind of person that can eat one cheat meal and be done and satisfied, or if you're the kind of person that wants to indulge and that one cheat meal might take you off the bandwagon, then don't take the cheat meal. I made the distinction of I'm pretty sure I could handle it, and I did. I handled it very well. I got off the wagon for a bit, and so right now I'm back to like pretty much on track with the exception of a couple of deviations in there. Yeah, just one more slice. An Infinium. Jay, need to go to school. All right, Adrian, you can watch the video on demand of this later if you want. 7:40 a.m. in Belgium. Well, good morning, Belgium. It's 10:40 in the evening where I live. You're the best, Jay. Nope, I just try to keep it real, quite honestly. I think people who've watched me long enough know I'm a realist. And that's why I can't come up with the answer of, Jay, what's your all-time dream car? I don't fucking know. I don't daydream about things I can't have. So I couldn't answer that question when people asked it yesterday or the day before. So Jay, I just showed up. What are some good tips for keeping my diet in line? I'm 18 and I'm getting spots on my liver. And I don't cut down from 250 to around 280. I'm going to die of scars on your liver. It sounds like you've got a lot of fat in your diet, a lot of high saturated fats. That tends to cause a lot of liver spots. I said earlier, the best thing to do is take a list of your favorite foods, like ground beef, chicken thigh meat, dark meat, tortillas, bread, cheese, whatever the unhealthy stuff is. Make a list of that, and then search for healthy alternatives to that will give you the same feeling like you're eating these things, but are not wrecking your diet. For instance, I've got a healthy pizza that I make with a gluten-free crust and marinara sauce and healthy, I shouldn't say healthy, but less detrimental cheeses and veggies and things like that and lean meats. I love that. So you've got to take a list of unhealthy stuff and find alternatives for it. That's the baby step. I would never recommend to someone to try to flip a switch overnight and change their diet. That is not going to work. It didn't work for me. Can you know my current weight? 240 pounds. I think someone said that's 180 kilograms or something like that. I'm not sure. At 249. No, my chart still says 249 because I haven't updated it. As of today, I'm 240. My lowest I've gotten yet, so the lowest I've seen the scale go since I started the hashtag GoTeamJ was 236 pounds. But the problem was I wasn't doing weightlifting at that time. I was doing purely cardio and nothing but cardio. I wasn't doing any weightlifting. I was doing weightlifting in the gym, but it wasn't like heavy weights. It was more or less like, just conditioning. This last winter, my trainer and I really started focusing on strength. So I've put back about 5 pounds of solid muscle in the last few months, which is messing with me on the scale. But I care more about the measurements and percentage of body fat. That's most important. 108 kilograms. Yeah, I guess 180 would be a lot, huh? Chicken, spinach, pizza, thin crust. Yep. A lot of people are still surprised that I weigh 240, but I'm also 6'4", and I'm very dense, and not just in the head, but like my body is very dense. Do you think it's better to only cardio at first or both? You understand, cardio is not about weight loss. You know, there's different cardio levels too, where you can be in a fat burning zone and a cardio zone. Believe it or not, the fat burning zone is much slower than what would be the considered, cardio workout. Cardio is about heart strength. It's not about weight loss. I do the biking for my cardio. The biking also helped accelerate some of the weight loss, but when I wasn't riding more as regular as I wanted to through the winter, I still maintained no problem because I was eating right. Then the problem was I started eating not right. But we're back on track now and we've lost the weight we gained. So I know I'm overweight. I can never summon the courage to get on a scale. I'm with you on that. I weigh twice a day. I weigh every morning and every night. And some would say that's not healthy, but damn it, I can't tell myself I didn't know I was gaining weight if I didn't do that. Sometimes you have to face the facts of what that scale is going to say. Am I running besides biking? Besides biking? No, I'm not running because 240 pounds is still kind of heavy on the joints. And so running causes shin splints and a lot of other uncomfortable knee and ankle pain. The biking itself does cause some knee pain. So I don't run for the simple fact that I don't want to injure myself. What's your thoughts on BMI scale? Fuck BMI. BMI is only part of the story. You want to care more about your lean mass index and your body fat. BMI is a lie, okay? It's not an indication of how healthy you are, period. Lean mass index and fat mass index. That's all you need to care about. Seriously. And height weight chart, throw that out the window. That shit was developed in like the 50s. Apple Techie. Jay, how do you know when you're gaining weight due to muscle gain or fat gain? And how do you balance your weight between lifting weights, gaining weight due to muscle, and losing weight fat? That's a good question. That's why my trainer tells me stop stepping on the scale so much, but I can't help it. The way you know you're losing fat and gaining muscle, if your scale is messing with you, is through your measurements. You've got to measure. You've got to measure your waist. You've got to measure your arms, measure your thighs, measure your chest, measure your calves. Those are measurements that I do every month at the gym. And that's how you know if you're losing fat and gaining muscle, if the scale is telling a different story. Remember, the scale is a total weight. It doesn't tell you how much water weight you have. It doesn't tell you how much muscle weight you have. It doesn't tell you how much fat you have. You guys want to hear? Here's a funny story. According to the height weight, let me look this up actually. I know what it used to say. I want to make sure it's the same. So let's see here. Height weight recommendation. All right. I am 6'4", right? Ideal weight calculator. This ought to be good. Age 35. Gender male. Height 6'4". Calculate. This thing says that I should weigh 187 pounds as of 1983. That's the Robinson formula. Based on the Miller formula, I should weigh, this was in 1983, I should weigh 173.6 pounds. You want to know what's funny about that? I weigh 182 pounds dry. Let me look this up. I actually put these in on my channel. So when I get the body scans, it will actually tell me. It can actually tell me how much my dry weight is, and what that basically means is So just bone structure, muscle structure, and your organs. No water, no fat, just literally like your skeletal structure or organs and your muscle. I weigh more than the recommended weight is if I had 0% body fat, which equals dead, by the way. That's why I say you need to take those ideal weight calculators and fucking punch them in the throat, because they are a lie. They are 100% a lie. And it pisses me off when people think that there's a weight they need to be because some doctor thought that that was the best formula. Yeah, no. Anyway, I got to find this. I got to find where I put this here because yeah, let's see, what is it? Weigh-in Wednesday. That's where I did it. Okay. So I had these numbers in here. Give me a second. But anyway, the bottom line was I weigh more. According to that height weight chart thing, I'm overweight simply if I were 0% body fat, which is impossible, right? Okay, so here it is right here. My lean body mass index means, like I said, what I weigh is 207.7 pounds. That's what my body is. So how the hell could I ever weigh 181 pounds or 173 pounds? Do I need to cut off a leg? Is that what I got to do to appease these doctors? Yeah, fuck those guys. Seriously. Yeah. So my ideal weight, according to my trainer, is, and this is after him knowing me for years, is about 235 pounds lean. That puts me at about 14% body fat. Yeah, you don't need to go by what the BMI says. BMI is also an inaccurate measurement. BMI doesn't know how much muscle you have. It doesn't know how much water you have. It doesn't know whether or not you're a thick bone structure. You need to go by lean mass index and fat mass index. That's what matters. I have nice eyes. I know, I wish I could take them out and give them to you. That'd be neat, right? If I had a glass eye. Oh, I have pretty eyes. Here you go. What do you think of that one? That'd be so much fun. Jay's hop-along tips. Yeah, Jay, those things were bad. I was crazy active, worked out, wrestled, etc. in high school. Lowest I weighed was 218, and that was still considered obese for you at 6 foot. I know, right? The military still goes off that kind of chart, too. McGregor says, so wait, Jay, I'm 6 foot 3.5. You 250 pounds. So you and I are very similar in size, by the way. I got a belly on me, so do I, and some good bitch tits to boot. Yeah, I got some pancake boobs. What should I weigh? How do I find out what I should weigh? And don't worry, I weigh twice a day too. Go to your gym, see if they have an actual body scanner. And I don't mean those ones you put in your hands and hold out in front of you. I mean the one that you step on and it has probes on your feet and probes on your hands, and it actually sends current through your body and measures everything. It measures your fat, it measures your muscle, it measures your bones, it measures your organs. It knows how much water weight you have. You can then determine what your ideal weight would be on there based on that. Like I said, my ideal weight is actually about 235 pounds. David says, good job, Jay. Gia J, been watching you for damn 3 years now. Seen you ups and seen your downs. What you've shared anyway. You've come a long way. Keep it up. Thanks. I've shared a lot on this channel. Never really hidden anything either. I'm an 18-year-old male, and I'm only 58 kilograms, 128 pounds. My recommended weight is apparently 65 to 70 kilograms. And I'm not skinny by any means. So what the hell is up? You know, the saying of I'm just big boned is a real thing. Bone density is something that varies by person to person. And so does your lean mass, which means the amount of muscle on you. Not being skinny doesn't mean you also don't have adequate muscle structure. So you probably could easily gain about, I'd say 8 pounds of muscle on you, just by simply having a high protein diet and hitting proper weight workout or some sort of a shred workout, and the scale wouldn't change much, but your lean mass index would probably go up because you still would lose some fat. Some people just are light. That's all there is to it. Let's see. Damn, good morning from the UK. Just woke up. get ready for work. Impressed with your weight loss. I'm 17.5 stone. Doctors say I should be 12.5 stone, but feel I'm actually not far off where I should be anyway, as long as I'm active. Yeah, Colin, that's the thing. Doctors want to hold everyone to the same scale, and that's not realistic. I would think doctors would know this. Let's see. And a heart attack. Yeah. Must feel good to know your kids will only know the fit you and not the old you. But you know what, though? Little Jay is very aware of the old me. She's seen pictures. The pictures we have hanging up around the house of her when she was a baby and stuff. I was this big. The pictures that you see here. So she is very aware of the fact that I wasn't always, physically fit. And she's very aware of the fact that she needs to eat healthy. She doesn't want to, but she knows she needs to, and it's a constant battle with her. But I keep telling her, look, Daddy was a fat daddy, and it runs in the family. If you don't want to be unhealthy and you want to be able to run around the playground with your friends and stuff, you need to eat the right things. Oh, look at this. Look at that. That was easy. All right. Jay Doche. Oh God, we're scrolling away here quickly again. Hey Jay, been watching your channel. I had bypass surgery as well, and the weight loss has fluctuated as well. But through Atco Team J, I've lost 75 pounds now, thanks to you. Also, to you, I now own a 370Z. Well, I apologize for what you spent out of pocket on the 370. That kind of sucks, but they're fun cars, right? And yeah, the weight loss surgery is a tool. That's what I tell people. You can easily take a hammer and just start swinging it away and do some damage, or you can take a hammer and use it the right way and build a house. It's the same thing with the surgery. Colonel Panic says, hey Jay, love your vids. I work only a few miles from home. Do you have any tips on cycling for commuting? I'm not overweight, but definitely out of shape. No, because I never commuted on the bike, quite honestly. If you have a safe like path that you could actually, if you had a safe path that you could, blah, 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 block user, there we go. If you had a safe path that you could actually ride to work, not be dealing with a lot of the cars and stuff, then I would say go for it. I mean, 2 miles, 5 miles is better than no miles, right? Squiggles, yes, I can read your messages. Okay, I traveled to the U.S. from Australia last year. In the 5 weeks, I gained 5K kilograms. Man, I felt that when I got back home. Yeah, it's not easy to live a healthy food lifestyle in America. And for what I understand, too, Europe is getting hard, too. A lot of Europeans are dealing with the fast foods and the unhealthy foods and stuff. But yeah, I hate the fact that American culture has kind of become a fat culture, but it's true. And it's hard. It's really hard, especially when you're on the go. Eating what you think is healthy food or even a salad at a restaurant here is like loaded up with sodium and all kinds of other oils and things that just make it unhealthy because they got to try and make it taste good. And they take what would be normally very healthy and organic and make it nothing but complete garbage. I mean, you could eat a 2,000 calorie salad here. I mean, what the hell? I'm losing a ton of weight from my newest hobby of scuba diving. I bet, man. It's probably really working your lungs out, too. Jay, you look like a fat Bam Margera. Is that how you say his name? I know who you're talking about. Well done on the loss, buddy. A lot of people have said that to me before. I don't see it. I've looked at a lot of his pictures, and I've never felt like I looked anything like him. Apple Techie says, Jay, I'm a guy, but for some stupid reason, all my fat seems to get stored in my thighs and belly only. You have any ideas on exercises to get it off my thighs? Let me tell you what's going to happen. Your body decides where it's going to put its fat, and your exercises are not going to determine where you lose that fat. Okay, that's myth number one. If you have a fat stomach, doing sit-ups is not going to give you a flat stomach. It doesn't work that way. Your body has its predetermined areas where it wants to store fat. And like you, I'm a bit hippie. My midsection goes out of control when I gain weight. If you work out your thighs, you're going to end up making your thighs technically look bigger if you aren't eating right to lose the fat, because the muscle is going to build, the lean muscle would build underneath the fat and literally push the fat out more. So you could make your legs look bigger if you don't have a proper diet, but simply do leg exercises to try and make your thighs look smaller. It's not going to work that way. Leg exercises will actually densen up your muscle and make them look bigger. I learned that the hard way. Do you start slow at the gym, walking on the treadmill or something? No, I'm very conditioned. I'm extremely conditioned. When I start at the gym, if you're talking about my routine today, the moment I get there, it's 100% from the moment I get there till I'm done, and then I do a cool down. But I'm extremely conditioned. I couldn't do that from the start, and I definitely wouldn't recommend anyone else doing that. Same thing with when I get on the bike. I don't get on the bike and do like a couple minutes to warm up. I literally get on the bike and go. And Coconut Monkey hates that because he can't keep up really that well. But I think you guys have noticed I'm the type of personality that when I do something, I tend to just dive in and go 150% from the beginning, and it's the way I've always done everything. Just like when I was gaining weight, I was like, damn it, I'm gonna gain weight like you've never seen before because I'm a go-getter. And I'm gonna go get that pizza, and I'm gonna go get that burger, and I'm gonna wash it down with some Mountain Dew. That's the way I was. I excelled at some of the wrong things. Every time I'm about to make a bad food choice, I always take that cash and invest it hardware for my system. It really adds up. I bet. But you're still left at the end of the day wanting a burger. You're fine being muscular and bigger, but I hate looking at my large legs thinking they're only fat. Yeah, I mean, my legs, try being a cyclist, man. My legs are incredibly big. How do you avoid eating too much? Well, having surgery myself, that is a bit of a, that helps me not eat so much. But there becomes a point where even after surgery, you can still eat like a regular portion. Eating the right foods and being active helps quite a bit at curbing appetite. But it's not going to happen overnight. A lot of people really think that, oh, if I do this and I'm healthy, it's going to happen like right now. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. It takes like a solid month before you even start to notice the differences. And you've got to invest the time. There is still ride my bike a lot. Not as much as I would like to, but I'm working on it. I really am. I was going to ride today, but it was raining here. How do you become less lazy? I had a tough time getting motivated, partly because of surgery on both feet and playing video games. A lot of video games. I'm currently at 6. There we go. All right, are we back? I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. Oh, crap.